Hello everyone, back to tuning in today's fourth and final video. We're going to have a look at the weather for the next 10 to 14 days for today's fourth and final video. So day 10 is going to take us to around the 7th of September. We'll be able to extend out beyond that. We extended GFS and ECM ensembles, maybe run around a couple of weeks. Have a look at the CFS V2 at the end of the video. Next 4 weeks, will there be any sign of a breakdown in the high pressure? We'll have a look in a moment. We're going to start off with Hurricane Ida. Bad news for the Gulf Coast. More about that in a second. Just say that the first bit release today was our 7 AM forecast. We also released the third and final autumn 2021 season model roundup. That's getting 16 long-range models together. See what they're all showing for the autumn. And that's ahead, of course, of the autumn forecast being released tomorrow. More about that at the end of the video. And then also we've released weekend forecast as well as on Saturday, your week ahead look ahead. So please check out all of today's videos if you'd like to do that. Please like, share, subscribe on the video. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing this. Right, okay, let's turn off webcam then. We're going to begin by having a look at what's going on in the tropical Atlantic. So 3 interest areas. We've got an orange X just here. We've got 10 just there. And then we've got Hurricane Ida just here. More about Ida in a second. Let's deal with the orange X first of all. So that's disturbance 2 with a 40% chance of cyclone formation in the next 2 days and a 60% chance in the next 5 days. They're saying an elongated area of low pressure located over the central Atlantic, several hundred miles east of Bermuda, is producing disorganized showers and isolated thunderstorms. Environmental conditions are expected to be only marginally conducive for development. However, a tropical depression could still form by early next week. By midweek, the system is forecast to be absorbed into a frontal system, just a general area of low pressure. But disturbance is expected to drift eastwards tonight and Saturday, then accelerate northeastwards on Sunday toward the central Atlantic. At the moment, it doesn't look like that one is too much to worry about. We've also got Tropical Depression 10 here. Tropical Depression 10 is giving maximum sustained winds of 35 miles per hour with a minimum central pressure of 1,007 millibars and is moving north-northwestwards at 7 miles per hour. Clicking on 10, you can see this is forecast to become a tropical storm imminently. There's the current position. So any moment, really, 10, Tropical Depression 10 is likely to become a tropical storm and will be named. Then pushes northwards through the weekend as a tropical storm into early next week. Goes down to a tropical depression, measures the position of tropical depression, or our tropical depression, by Thursday. So that's not impacting anywhere, any land areas. That's just a storm that's out at sea. It's still in business, although it is weakening from a tropical storm to a tropical depression. It is still in business, through the middle part of the week. So obviously it might power up at some point, depending on where it goes. At that point, it's very much still alive and active, so that could be one to watch in the longer term. But up to middle of the week, that doesn't impact anywhere, in terms of land. And then, of course, we've got Hurricane Ida just here. This is where all of the attention is, and you'll see why in a moment. So Hurricane Ida at the moment is giving maximum sustained winds of 80 miles per hour with a minimum central pressure of 987 millibars, and Ida is moving northwestwards at 16 miles per hour. It's a Category 1 hurricane right now, but if we go here, you can see that Ida is being forecast tonight to reach major hurricane status. So the current position is just there to the north of Cuba. Ida will move through the Gulf of Mexico through this weekend, becoming a major hurricane if the forecast is correct by tonight. And then tomorrow, this major hurricane is bearing down on the coast of Louisiana. Generally, this is being shifted further eastwards, but it looks like it's going to make a central hit on Louisiana. So it could start, if it goes any further eastwards, we might start seeing some impacts from this through Mississippi, but at the moment it looks like the central, projection for the hit is going to be on the state of Alabama, and possibly not all that far from New Orleans. Of course, it brings back all sorts of memories of what happened 16 years ago in 2005 with Katrina. So if we go here to discussion and look at the forecast winds, we can see that in 36 hours time, this is being forecast to give maximum sustained winds of 140 miles per hour. That is a Category 4 hurricane. That is maximum sustained. So you can think that it's like a sustained wind of 140 miles an hour. Obviously, gusts will be well in excess of that. Could be up to 180 miles per hour. And this Category 4 hurricane, is going to be bearing down on Louisiana and on the Gulf Coast in 24 to 36 hours time. It's really bad. This is looking really bad for those Gulf Coast states. So the key messages are that hurricane and tropical storm conditions are ending over Cuba. However, Ida will continue to bring periods of heavy rainfall across West Cuba through today, and that may lead to flash flooding and mudslides. Point number 2, there is a danger of life-threatening storm surge, inundation Sunday along the coast of Louisiana and Mississippi within the storm surge warning area. Extremely life-threatening inundation of 10 to 15 feet above ground level is possible within the area from Morgan City, Louisiana to the mouth of Mississippi River. Interest throughout the warning area should follow any advice given by local officials. Point number 3, Ida is expected to be an extremely dangerous major hurricane when it reaches the coast of Louisiana. Notice the wording of this. Absolutely atrocious, terrible. Hurricane force winds are expected Sunday in portions of the hurricane warning area along the Louisiana coast, including metropolitan New Orleans. Again, bring back memories of 16 years ago with potentially catastrophic wind damage possible where the core of Ida moves onshore. Actions to protect life and property should be rushed to completion in the warning area. Point number 4 is that Ida is likely to produce heavy rainfall later Sunday and into Monday across the central Gulf Coast from southeast Louisiana to coastal Mississippi, resulting in significant flash and riverine flooding impacts. As Ida moves inland, flooding impacts are possible across portions of the lower Mississippi and Tennessee valleys. This is an extremely dangerous and life-threatening major hurricane. If anybody's watching this from the Gulf Coast, particularly in the states of Louisiana and Mississippi, then, heed the warnings, heed the advice of the local officials, and do whatever you can to protect yourself. Ida is looking like an extremely dangerous major hurricane, and there is still time for this to power up. Of course, yesterday this was being predicted to reach a Category 3 hurricane status. They're now saying Category 4. Will this go up to Category 5? I wonder. But Category 4 is bad enough. And I think Katrina was Category 4 in 2005. And we know the devastation that brought. So yeah, just do whatever you can to look after yourself and stay safe if you're in that part of the world. Coming back to the UK, our relatively benign late summer weather continues. We're going to be under high pressure for the next week at least, and more about that in a second. The central temperature is currently standing at 16.4. That is an anomaly of 0.6 of a degree below average. That is provisional to yesterday, to the 27th of August. Had an update from my good friend Simon, aka Global Warming, at the Weather Outlook Forum. So you'll remember this time last week the projection for the CT was 16.2. Because of these overcast, cloudy days that we are having, actually that's been moved downwards. So the projection now is actually for the CT for August 2021 to come in at 15.9. 15.9 is the projection now for August CT. That is actually a little bit below average set against 81 to 2010. It's about average 61 to 90, but the warmer averages of 81 to 2010 and also 91 to 20, that is a cooler than average August for the CT. That would bring central temperature in around half a degree, perhaps a little bit more actually than half a degree below average, set against those more modern averages. So turned into quite a coolish August in the end, and obviously a big change on what we had in June and July, where we're generally running around 1.5 degrees above average, in line with the GavsWeatherVids forecast, summer forecast. However, we did say this was likely to be a summer that would be warmest earliest, and then would get cooler as the summer went along. We forecast we called it a mixed British summer, with fewer heat spikes compared to previous summers. I think the summer forecast has done well. We will be evaluating it in the first week or two of September. I'm quite happy with how the summer forecast came out, and I think where we're seeing the CT coming in actually a bit below average, set against 81 to 2010, I think, that confirms that the summer forecast has done quite well. So I am quite pleased with how the summer forecast came out, but more about that when we evaluate the summer forecast in a week or two's time. These were GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles the next couple of weeks. So red line is the 30-year upper air temperature average. For Birmingham, we're starting off close to average at the moment. Upper air temperatures will be lifting up through the course of this coming week. So as we go into the opening days of September, like the second half of next week, actually it could become quite warm. We might see the temperature popping up to mid-20s Celsius, perhaps down in the south-southeast, if we get sunshine. I think we probably will have an increasing amount of sunshine by this time next week. Generally staying quite warm, really, with the upper air temperatures through the first week of September. Possibly signs of a bit of a drop there into the second week of September. But of course, that's a long way off. It's very extended range. I think more notably, perhaps in temperature, is going to be the dryness. It's going to be extremely dry over the next week. So we've already had like a week of dry weather. Our last sort of widespread rainfall was around this time last Saturday, so we've already had like a week of really dry conditions. Looks like we're going to have another week of really dry conditions. That's 2 weeks. If we get a third week of really dry conditions, then that will be starting to get us towards thinking about a drought. On the definition of a UK drought, which I think is around 3 weeks without any measurable rain. So yeah, that will, if we get a third week, then that will start getting us thinking about an actual drought by the official definition. But of course, that is harder to do, and it does look as though the GFS ensembles are predicting or forecasting something a little bit more unsettled as we go into the second week of September. There are some precipitation spikes there, but bear in mind that is extended range, so it's in the unreliable time frame of the GFS and its ensemble. It may not verify, but it does look as though like the second week of September could be a little bit more unsettled. But definitely like the next week to 10 days is looking exceptionally dry, really. Temperature anomalies from the 28th of August to the 5th of September, about average, above average in the north, near normal further southwards. Precipitation anomalies, so look at this, exceptionally dry. Most places having less than 5% of their average rainfall in the week ahead, which basically means there's not going to be any measurable rain across large parts of the country and also Ireland in the week ahead. The latest wind flow map from EarthNullSchool.net shows that high pressure remains dominant, remains in control of the weather, sitting over the top of the country and pulling in these winds from an east to northeast direction. They will continue to bring cooler and cloudy conditions, particularly to eastern parts of the country. Best sunshine will remain under the centre of high, which is to the north and to the west. Right, so we go through these charts as quickly as we can, I think. Hello, I'm back. Right, so this is how the UK Met weather outlook is looking for midnight on Tuesday. And surprise, surprise, high pressure is dominating the weather. On Wednesday, we're high and dry. On Thursday, we're high and dry too. Friday, Thursday, high and dry. And we get through into Friday and Saturday. And you've guessed it, we're high and dry then. As well. So the UK Met gets high pressure going to the beginning of next weekend. And of course, because initially we're like bringing in this northeasterly wind, but of course as we go along, that high pressure sort of slips southwards and becomes centred over the country, and so that is associated with a little bit of a weakening of the ridge. So it's possible that this could be the beginning of the end of the ridge, although that's very speculative. But what it will do, it cuts off that northeast wind, and so it probably means more sunshine towards the end of next week and into next weekend. As we've lost the northeasterly wind, we should start to see more sunshine developing, and it could start to get quite warm actually. We might see a temperature popping up to like 25 degrees in the south and the southeast by next weekend, dependent on sunshine. Right, so that's UK Met done, that's as far as we go. Let's have a look at GFS midnight run then. Here we go then. High pressure dominates the weather on Tuesday. High pressure still there on Wednesday and on Thursday too. Notice all the time pulling in wind from the northeast, so that brings the cloudiest weather to the south and the east. But by Friday, yes, high pressure in control, but it is slipping southwards across the country, cutting off that northeast wind, which means we probably get more in way of sunshine developing towards the end of next week and next weekend himself. Next weekend is dominated by high pressure, so no changes. We're high and dry still then. The high pressure fest carries on with a midnight GFS run up to day 10, which is the 7th of September. Again, just a big, large area of high pressure. We have changed wind direction, so there should be more sunshine in the south and the east. And that could be a very warm scenario, actually. Probably getting the temperature at least into the mid-20s Celsius. There's some sort of hurricane. I'll have to get rid of webcam for a sec. There's some sort of hurricane, tropical storm type thing just there, not too far from the Azores, by the way. Right, let's go on further then. So we move out into or beyond day 10, and again the high pressure just goes on and on and on. So this is the very end of the GFS midnight run to the 13th of September, and guess what? We're still under high pressure on the 13th of September. That would, by that point, get a little bit more serious. By that point, we would be starting to think about an actual drought, I think, on the 3-week definition for large parts of the country. It might be starting to get a little bit more unsettled in the very, very far north of Scotland. But that will give us that third week of barely any measurable rainfall. So we would be then starting to think about a drought, I think, across large parts of the UK and Ireland, potentially. Right, this is how the GFS 6Z is looking. Let's have a look at that one then. High pressure again is in control of the weather on Tuesday and Wednesday and on Thursday. Gradually slipping southwards with time, cutting off that northeasterly wind. So with time we should see more and more sunshine in southern and east areas later next week. Into the first weekend of September, again, no change. High pressure is going nowhere fast. It's sitting over the country. It is a warmer scenario, though, and a sunnier one, too, for the south. Up to day 10 with 6Z. Again, no changes with this. High pressure is just in control of the weather. I mean, there's nothing else to say, really, other than it's very dry and really warm up to day 10. Now, beyond day 10, the 6Z does see a bit of a change. So we're into the second week of September now. You'll notice the high pressure begin to slip eastwards, becoming centred around the Baltic Sea. And that's just starting to allow a little bit of an advancement of low pressure from the Atlantic. Takes a really long time. It is such a struggle, but eventually we do start to push these low pressures in from off the Atlantic after day 10, well, the 10th day of September, so this is the 11th of September. We're just starting to move those weather fronts and those areas of low pressure in. So as we get to the end of the GFS 6Z, 13th of September, high pressure has broken down, and we're into a cooler, much cooler, and much more unsettled run of westerly winds, bring low pressure and spells of rain. But bear in mind, that breakdown does not happen until after day 10. Happens, around day 11, day 12. So, I mean, it's such a long way out that, but you couldn't put any sort of credence in that actually verified. And like within the reliable time frame, or a semi-reliable time frame, which is like the next week to 10 days, it's high pressure all the way. Just high pressure all the way with today's GFS output. certainly the operationals. This hour, the GEM is looking. If you enjoyed the video, then please smash your like button, make sure you sub to the channel. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. For GavsWeatherVids, drop a comment, let us know what you think. This hour, the GEM looks for Tuesday. High pressure is dominating the weather. The high pressure is still there on Wednesday and on Thursday and on Friday. No changes throughout the week. We're high and dry. Into the weekend, the high pressure just starting to weaken a little bit. So this is a change compared to what GFS is showing, with lower pressure coming into the northwest. That will bring some showery rain into the northwest by the 5th of September. And then we go up to day 10. Just looking a little bit more unsettled for the north, but still mainly dry under high pressure down in the south. But that is bringing in a little bit more mobility around day 7, 8, 9, and 10. And especially so for northern areas. And then we've got the ECMWF, looks like this. Again, the high pressure dominates the weather on Tuesday and will continue to do so throughout the rest of the working week next week into next weekend. Again, high pressure is dominating on Saturday, but is weakening a little bit. So by midnight on Sunday, some lower pressure developing just to our south and some lower pressure to our west, putting that ridge at high pressure under stress. And so as we get to day 10, yes, the ECM breaks the Atlantic through, and we start turning more unsettled with outbreaks of rain in off the Atlantic and turning cooler as well. So the GEM and the ECM, particularly the ECM actually, suggesting a breakdown to the high pressure around days 8, 9 and 10. But remember, the GFS operationals are just high pressure all the way up to day 10. Very, very dominant, a rampant high pressure with the GFS operationals. This is the precipitation forecast based on that ECM run from meteo.com. We'll wrap through this very quickly. There's not going to be much precipitation to talk about. A few showers in the east coming and going with cloud, but lots of dry weather. Really, until we get to next weekend, may start to bring some showery rain into the south. So that looks quite heavy, maybe a little bit thundery. And then low pressure advancing in off the Atlantic by day 10 itself, bringing this band of rain in across the country. So things begin to get a push on, you know, around days 8 to 10. Right, at that point, we'll turn off the webcam and we'll have a look at the options on the table within the ECM ensembles today for day 10. So these are them. This will get us to the 7th of September from the Icelandic Met Office. 13 members of the ECM ensembles with high pressure just to our south-southwest, low pressure towards Iceland. Let's try to break down the ridge in the north, turning a little bit more unsettled there perhaps, but for England and Wales and much of Ireland, still mainly dry. 11 with the high pressure ridging through the country, so that's going to be mainly dry and settled. 8 with high pressure centred right over top of the country. 7 with high pressure just to the north of Scotland, some lower pressure over the Bay of Biscay, winds in from the east. That might be threatening some thundery showers to the south, but it's mainly dry actually. 6 with lower pressure to the northwest, higher pressure to our south-southwest, just looking a little bit more changeable for Scotland. And then another 6, including the control and the operational run, much more unsettled with low pressure breaking through, but only 6 doing that, albeit it is in control and the operational. But that tells us that within the ECM ensembles, actually this idea that the ECM was showing there of the high pressure breaking down days 8, 9, 10, that idea is not well supported within the ECM ensembles. Most ECM ensemble members are keeping the high pressure fest going up to day 10, actually, in line with the GFS operationals. 2 weeks' time, these are the options that we've got. This gets us to the 12th of September. 80 members of the ECM ensembles have high pressure to the south and low pressure to the north-northeast. Getting a little bit more unsettled for northern areas and a bit cooler in the north as well. 15 have low pressure right over top of the country. Big change with that. That's going to be unsettled and autumnal. 12 with low pressure way to our northwest, breaking the Atlantic through. And then 6 with high pressure over Scandinavia, low pressure around Iceland. That's the warmest option because we're pulling up wind from the south-southeast with that. And mainly dry, I would have thought, particularly for eastern areas, actually. So it's inconclusive. We may break down this ridge by the time we get into the second week of September. This big blocking area of high pressure, it's a meagre high, may break down by the second week of September, but it is a long way off, and it is very inconclusive, I have to say. Right, CFS V2 finally, and then we're done. These are 500 millibar heights breaking down to week periods. The first week period takes from the 28th of August to 3rd of September. Coming week is dominated by high pressure. Of course it is. And winds are in from an east to northeasterly direction, mostly dry, with warmest weather in the northwest. Week 2 is also dominated by high pressure. It's before to the 10th of September. Yes, this high pressure sits over to the east of the country. It's a warmer scenario as well as we pull the wind in from the southeast. A bit of a change for week 3. It's the 11th to 17th of September. High pressure is beginning to weaken. This is probably a transitional period with low pressure developing towards Iceland and Greenland. Return of a westerly flow. Should be starting to turn a little bit cooler, although it could still be quite warm actually. But certainly turning more unsettled up in the north and maybe eventually even in the south. And then we go through to week 4, which is the 18th, 24th of September. High pressure then is slipping into eastern parts of Europe. Low pressure becoming increasingly influential in the North Atlantic, bringing through the westerlies, bringing through bands of rain. First autumnal rains coming through, and temperatures will be taking a dip as well with those unsettled conditions. So all the model output is looking like the first week, 10 days of September is high and dry. High pressure dominates. There are hints and suggestions here, but by the time we get into certainly the middle of September, we could be seeing a breakdown. The second week of September is probably going to be quite a pivotal week as to whether we break down this blocking high or we keep it going. Most of the longer range output appears to be suggesting, you know, unsettled weather, increasingly influential as September progresses. But it is all so far out that we need to stay very, very cautious about it for the timing. Until we see this change, you know, within days sort of 5 and 6 and 7, then I think we should stay very cautious. In the reliable time frame, which is the next week to 10 days, high pressure is going to be dominant. So you enjoyed the video, please smash the like button. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. Drop a comment, let us know what you think about this and all of our videos. And don't forget to tell your friends and family about GavsWeatherVids and get them to subscribe as well. We're going to put on around 50 subscribers to get to 11.9k and open our draw for 12k. And we're going to give away some pillows and some GavsWeatherVids merch when we get to 12k. But before we can open the draw, we've got to get to 11.9k. We're going to put on around 50 subscribers to do that. Thank you so much, everybody. If you subscribe, you're going to be able to see future weather content as well. Right, that's it for today's video. So tomorrow, I'm going to have epic day of content coming up tomorrow. Have a 7 AM forecast. We will have the autumn forecast from GavsWeatherVids. We've done autumn updates over the past 12 weeks. It's all been building up to the autumn forecast. You'll find out tomorrow what we are predicting for this autumn of 2021. Also tomorrow, if that wasn't enough, we've got the final GavsWeatherVids study roundup of the year, as well as a little sneak peek for winter 2021-2022. We'll be explaining what goes into winter forecast in that, and be live streaming from 6 o'clock tomorrow. It's a sunny live stream, so we've got to do some long range. Have a CFS special, I think, for you from 6 PM tomorrow. And then on Bank Holiday Monday, we've got our historic video coming up, looking at the rest of the second half, I suppose, of 2020 and into 2021. It's an epic weekend of content on the channel, so keep checking back for more. And I shall see you tomorrow either for our uploads or possibly even for our live stream at 6 o'clock. But for this one, that's all for now, and thanks for watching.